All right, hey guys, we are back with another news segment here and a couple of pieces we're going to be talking about. First one here is Toyota is offering $1,500 loyalty discount on new Land Cruisers. Now, there's a trick to this and some catches, but we are finally seeing that Toyota is offering some money back. They're realizing that their prices are really high. They're realizing that the Tacomas are sitting on lots and not moving. They're realizing the Tundras aren't moving. They're realizing that the pricing structure they did and their arrogance in this was too high and people aren't paying it. So the writing is on the wall. They're reading it and they're offering some discounts here. So now they're also, it says here, 1,500 loyalty discount is available for those looking to lease a new Land Cruiser. Toyota is also offering $1,000 loyalty discount on many other vehicles for lessees. Okay, now there is certain rules to this. When we look down in here and read it, okay, where was that at? The only part of this that matters. Where was it? How to get your discount? Right here. Now this is weird. Okay, as with most things in life, the discount comes with a few caveats. Namely, that you currently need to be leasing a Toyota. Okay, I can understand that. That makes sense. Not just any Toyota either, as the only vehicles that can help you qualify are the gas or hybrid versions of the Camry. God darn it, hold on, backing up. The only ones that'll let you get this, where was did I just lose that whole thing? Right here, is going to basically be the Camry, the Corolla, the RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, or CHR or Avalon. No 4Runner. They're not, the 4Runner doesn't matter. Pretty crazy how they're doing that. Why would they exclude the 4Runner if you had an older 4Runner that you were leasing and you wanted to trade this in? Maybe people don't lease 4Runners. I don't know. But here's the other thing that's interesting too. If you're currently leasing one of these vehicles in most of the country, you're eligible for $1,000 off the lease and for another eligible $500 off the purchase of a vehicle. It's even been reported some area discounts can rise to $1,500 for leases and $1,000 for purchases. Yet the only place that's been confirmed is San Francisco. But the takeaway here is that Toyota's starting to do something. They're starting to move. That Tacoma's only been on showroom floors and only been out available now for a couple of months. And they're realizing how high it is, and they're realizing that the Tundras aren't moving, and they're starting to offer some money back. They came out with their pricing structure already on a Land Cruiser. All this stuff is kind of set in stone, but now we're starting to see some rebates. Hopefully it continues. Moving on from there, because we got a lot to cover today, especially the end story in this, about the last one that we're going to cover in this at the end of this is about why there's a good possibility this is why the Tundra and the 3.4 liter V6 twin turbo Toyota motor keeps having so many problems. But first, we got a couple more to get through. NHTSA again investigating Ford, this time on the F1 or the F Series Super Duties, the V8 trucks over engine compartment fires. Okay, now this is interesting because how do you fix this? I'm not sure what they're going to do for this, but so anyway, this is for the Super Duties. Between 2015 and 2021, so 6 years worth of them, and it's basically affecting 211,000 of these Super Duties, ranging from 250s all the way to 550s. And this is if you got the Power Stroke basically here. Okay, right here, 6.7 Power Stroke. Now what they're saying is that the secondary fuel filter, there's two fuel filters on diesel trucks, okay? The second fuel filter can leak, and it can cause oil to get into the engine compartment, and it's causing fires. The aforementioned 27 complaints, 12 described an engine compartment fire. It resulted in four injuries to people for this, and it's an issue. So what the problem is, it turns out 2015 to 2020 model years Series Super Duty trucks equipped with the 6.7 Power Stroke V8 features a low-pressure fuel system that is capable of 8.5 bars of pressure, 8.5 bar of pressure, whereas the secondary fuel filter is tested at no more than 7 bar during production. Okay, it's not clear whether the supplier bears the blame alone or the automaker knew that the 7-bar testing of the fuel filter that should take 8.5 bar of pressure. But I mean, this is, come on, this is crazy. And now here's the other part, and I don't understand what's going to happen to it. This is why NHTSA is looking into this. Okay, NHTSA stands for the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration. However, this is where it gets weird. The attached preliminary investigation resumed states that the changes starting in 2022 by both Ford Motor and Sogify align with a lack of similar complaints on model years 2022 and newer vehicles. I don't understand what that even means. That makes zero sense. It says here too, the choice of the words is utmost interesting, and the same can be said about Ford's reluctancy to recall potentially affected trucks after implementing the 2022 model year changes. So basically, as we know again, here we go, more leaky fuel filters that are causing fires. Granted, there is not a ton of them. We only have 12 described in engine compartment fire, but you have 211,000 of these trucks that have basically fuel filters that cannot be capable of the 8.5 bar number. Now, could they maybe just change the fuel filter? I'm assuming that's probably what could be done, but the choice, it says right here, Ford's reluctancy to recall potentially affected trucks after implementing this. Are they updating the part number? We don't know nothing. We don't know what they're doing on anything. But anyway, we know that there's an issue here, and Ford, as they've been doing this for like the last 2 or 3 years, they fail miserably at taking care of customers, and it's showing here again. Next one up here we got is Ford Ranger rival Jeep Gladiator gets a plug-in hybrid for 2025. We know this already. Okay, we already know this. I already talked about this, that it was coming, but it sounds like there is a plug-in hybrid that is going to be coming to the Ranger as well too. We've heard a rumor about a plug-in hybrid for the Ford Bronco. It's been swirling for years. That fire was only fueled further when Ford authorities spotted the blue oval, which is Ford, okay, benchmarking a Jeep Wrangler 4xe earlier this year. So that when they say benchmarking, that means testing and looking at it and evaluating how the systems work and all that kind of stuff. So we know that this year, 2025, the Gladiator, Jeep Gladiator is getting a 4xe option for those of you that want a hybrid, and looks like they are going to sometime before 2030, they're saying, but in a very close workups is a Ford Bronco and a Ford Ranger in a plug-in hybrid version. Now, another interesting thing on here, that was cool, but that was not the main, that wasn't good enough for me to put this article in here. This is the icing on the cake that made it worth it, was this right here. Next year, we'll extend the freedom of choice even further with a Gladiator 4xe option. Colors to be announced. Right here, this is important. This is interesting for those of you guys. There's so many people out here that on comments that crack me up. This will join the number 1, which is a Wrangler, and the number 2, which is a Grand Cherokee, best-selling plug-in hybrids in the U.S. Okay, isn't that interesting? Everybody's like, Jeep doesn't sell, nobody buys them, Jeeps are garbage, Jeeps are everything. The number 1 of all plug-in hybrids in the entire country, the number 1 and number 2 best-selling plug-in hybrids are the Jeep Wrangler 4xe and the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe. Number 1 selling hybrids. So take that for what it's worth and use it whatever way you want to, but I found it interesting. All right, now we got one more before we get into the big article. This one right here, Toyota 2024. This is the first I've seen of this, but they do have a lift kit out. Rough Country, who builds amazing stuff. I know people give them crap for being cheap, but you know what? Cheap isn't bad, and they've been around so long. They build such good stuff, and they have quality components, and they work, and they flat out work well. They may not have Kings written on the side or anything like that, but they are quality components and they work fantastic, regardless of what anybody on the internet forums tell you, because they're affordable. But anyway, Rough Country has got a lift out for the new 2024 Tacoma. It's a 3.5-inch lift, and it is only for the SR5 model. It will not work on anything with leaf springs, and it will not work on the TRD models or the TRD off-road, anything with the Bilsteins or the Fox Tune suspension or the Trail Hunter Old Man Emu. This is strictly for a SR5, but if you own an SR5 and you want to be able to get 35-inch tires on it, this is the way you will be able to do it, to get 35s on there. So here it is right there. I'm not sure I would do it because keep in mind, Toyotas, if this is anything like the third gens and older, they don't lift very well. You got to be careful. You start doing a 1 or 2 inch, or doing a 2-inch lift is not too bad, but when you start getting into 3.5 inches of lift, you're going to be burning CV axles out like crazy. If it's anything like previous gens, like every 30, 40, 50,000 miles, you've got to replace both CV joints. They're going to be completely shot. So something to keep in mind and consider, but there is this lift out. All right, we got to roll. We got to get to this other one, which I actually have over here. So we're going to move that. Here it is right here. Now this actually, I found this by the Car Guy Online. Okay, great channel. I love his stuff. Does really good things on there. He probably doesn't even know I watch it because I usually watch it from my traditional bow hunting channel, which is what I watch most of my YouTube stuff on. So, but I watch a lot of his stuff. And we are talking about, he has it right here, 2024 Lexus LX 600 injured failure, GX550 next. It's the same motor. Basically, this is the 3.4 twin turbo V6. It's in the Tundra. It's in the Sequoia. It's in the Lexus 600. It's in the Lexus 550. This is that motor. Okay, that the Toyota's putting a lot of stuff on, and we know it's been blowing up, and we've been having some problems. We've talked about that in the past. Well, he dives into this pretty good, and he actually gets the video from Tinker's Adventure, who is also another fantastic YouTube channel. But definitely giving a plug here. Make sure you check out the Car Guy Online. Great channel. There you'll be able to find him. And then Tinker's Adventures, which is this one. This guy's an engineering guru. He dives so deep on everything, it'll blow your mind. So two fantastic channels that you should be looking at. You can see subscribed. I am subscribed, and I am subscribed. So like I said, these are both fantastic channels. Now, basically, though, they break down the idea and concept of what's happening with this motor. Okay, what's there? And, Tinker dove into it pretty good. You can go watch the whole video, this video right here on his channel. You can see, and then you can get the highlights version again right here on the Car Guy Online in his channel right here. But basically, Tundras are going down. We got a lot of these kind of vehicles that are going, as he even says right here. 2 Lexus 600s, 1 LS 500, and many Tundras. This is happening too. It's with the bearings. Okay, it's the crank bearings that are becoming a problem here. So here's why, and here's what they're talking about. It's very interesting. Okay, when you have a crank, this is your crank right here. Okay, and then you have your bearings that are right in here. These little round spots, these are your bearings. I'll show you at the end of this. Well, these are your bearing caps right here. Okay, so this is block flipped upside down. Crank is set in there. You got bearings in here. These individual blocks go in here, and they are bolted down. Okay, they have 4 bolts that go into these holes, and they get torqued down, and they compress that bearing and hold the crank and the bearing in place. Then 2 more locking side bolts come in to hold that everything in place. And this happens for each one of every one of these bearings all the way across the entire crank. Boom, 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 boom. That's what holds it in. Each one can be individually torqued and set and over each bearing. Beautiful systems, how cars have been made for many, as long as I can remember. It's how they always been done, okay? Well, when we get into this here, I got to roll. I made this little article out of screenshots, so forgive me. It's a little different here. Like I said, I built it in Photoshop so we could make it quick. But here's another example of that. Here's that bearing clamp. It's going to go down. It's going to hold the bearing in place, your bolts, that kind of thing. Well, here's how Toyota decided to do it instead of that. Okay, here's the bearings. You can see these bearings that are going around there, and then those clamps that you see right here are going to hold those bearings in place. And we can see that we have, again, here, each one is its own bolted down structure in each of these places. Well, on the new this new 3.4 V6, instead of doing individual bearing blocks, Toyota chose to use a ladder frame cast aluminum construction here, which basically is one whole unit that is locking down everything. Okay, and so instead of having a cap here, a bearing cap here, a bearing cap here, a bearing cap here, and a bearing cap here, like you see right up here in this one, they made one whole assembly that is machined and goes on there. Now, they did that for durability and strength and longevity and that kind of stuff, and their concept is good, their idea is good, everything about it is good. but it seems to be a place where we could be having issues. Now, nobody in their right mind can jump on here and say Toyota should have never did that. They failed. Okay, Toyota doesn't make failures on purpose, and Toyota doesn't build things to not work. Okay, if this doesn't work, it's not like they intended it that way. Okay, they in their testing and what they did, this turned out to be a stronger, more robust design, so they went with it. Okay, it wasn't a cost-saving thing. It was a quality and durability type thing that they tried to do here. Did it work, though? We don't know in the real world. We're having problems. See, here's the bearings. You can see how small bearings are, but they're failing. They're failing, and it could be because of run out in the crankshaft because the bearings are not pressed down tight enough at each one of these places because of this big rigid ladder having a little bit too much variance between each one, allowing that crank, which is spinning at such high RPMs, to actually, get out of tune there and cause some issues. And we're seeing it more and more. So there's been all those ones. And then actually, when Tinker was making this video before he even published it, the Lexus mechanic who he was interviewing in that video, which again, go watch him, sent him a text right here saying this. I forgot to tell you, we just got another LX600 in, so that's the third LX600 in with under 36,000 miles on it. So these things are having some major problems. And again, go watch the video on Tinker's Adventures, and then go watch the video over on the Car Guy Online's channel. Two great people, two great channels, very good detail and information. And with Tinker and how he did this video, there's a heck of a lot of work that went into making this video for us. So take advantage of that. But the point being, if this is the case, how does Toyota fix this? That's the real problem. I mean, like I said, you don't ever want to see anybody having problems, but this one could be huge. If this is the problem here, imagine what would be involved with this recall for every one of these vehicles that have this motor in it. It's very scary right now if this ends up being the case. So hopefully it's not, because Toyota built this with the intent of it being a better, stronger unit and system. Oh, but if this is the problem, and this is why the bearings in all these vehicles keep going down, this could be ugly for Toyota. I don't know what they would do or how they would do this. Like I said, this is not changing out a headlight. This is big. This is replacing a lot of motors, because if this proves to be a problem, that means all of them are basically a ticking time bomb. This isn't like Chevy's engine block failure that they just went through with their 2.7, where there was a batch of a couple of them that went out with some cracks in the casting, and they might have to replace a couple of them. This would be huge. So hopefully this is not the reason for that, and if it is, it's not going to be pretty at all. So anyway, that's what we got for this news feed. Like I said, go watch these couple of videos here, and you can learn more about it for yourself. As always, thank you for watching, and we will talk to you soon.